Something strange happened on Sunday night, and if you're a Chiefs fan, you probably felt that same jolt when you realized Josh Simmons wasn't on the sideline. Here's the short version. Simmons, our rookie left tackle, and the guy a lot of people picked to stabilize this line, was suddenly ruled out of the game for a personal reason, and he flew to California late that day. That's the public version. The rest? It's messy. Let me walk you through why this feels off. Simmons had started every game up to that point and was playing very well. The kind of tough, steady presence you want, protecting Mahomes. Then, out of nowhere, he's added to the injury report, and not with an injury tag, but a personal reason. The team stayed quiet. Coaches gave short, non-answers. Patrick Mahomes said he'd keep the conversation private, and that he's praying for Simmons. That's respectful, sure, but it leaves a lot of fans wondering what's actually going on. You and I both know the NFL is full of late-night flights and last-minute moves, but this one had two things that made it stand out. First, the timing, right before a nationally televised Sunday night game, and second, the absence of any clear timeline for a return. Simmons didn't practice on Wednesday. The assumption initially was he'd be back for Week 7 against the Raiders. Now, that looks much less certain. I don't want to fuel tabloid speculation. My aim here is to cut through the noise. Tell you what's been confirmed, what's just chatter, and why the silence matters. There's nothing wrong with the team protecting a player's privacy. In fact, that's usually the right call. But sports is also about roster realities. If Simmons is out longer than expected, the Chiefs will need to adjust quickly. And that's where depth players like Jalen Moore come in. Before we go deeper, I want to hear from you. Do you think Simmons comes back for the Raiders? Type yes or no down in the comments and tell us why. Also hit subscribe. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers so we can keep covering breaking Chiefs news like this faster. Now, let's clear the air and lay out exactly what we know, and what's still fuzzy, about the Josh Simmons situation. Because if you scroll through social media right now, you'll find a dozen different sources claiming everything from a family emergency to a personal dispute with the front office. Most of that? Unverified. Here's what's confirmed. Late Sunday, before the Chiefs faced the Lions, Simmons caught a flight to California. We don't know exactly where. Some reports say San Diego, his hometown, but that hasn't been confirmed by anyone in the organization. Shortly after, the Chiefs added him to the injury report with the note, "personal reason," and he was ruled out for the game. That means the team did know he was leaving, but we don't know if that decision was approved, discussed, or just accepted after the fact. Then came Wednesday. Practice was open to the EB2BT media, and Josh Simmons was not there. No pads, no sideline appearance, no quick statement. Andy Reid was asked about it and gave one of his shortest responses ever. As far as the Josh Simmons situation goes, I'm not going to comment on it. Veach is handling everything. That's it. Nothing more. If you've followed this team long enough, you know Andy Reid is usually willing to at least give a hint, especially if it's a personal or family matter. He's done it before. So his silence here says something deeper. Maybe it's just privacy. Maybe it's something the team hasn't figured out how to manage yet. Patrick Mahomes also commented, but just barely. He said, "I'll keep the conversation between us, but I'm always praying for him." Again, that's not exactly clarity. What's strange is how tight-lipped everyone seems to be. Coaches, players, even staff. That usually means two things. Either it's a sensitive personal issue, or there's uncertainty even inside the building. This is where things can spiral online, Fans start guessing. Blogs publish insider takes. But we need to keep this grounded. There's a fine line between curiosity and intrusion. And if this really is personal, the right thing for us as fans is to trust that Simmons and the organization are handling it the right way. Still, it's fair to ask, how long can the team afford to wait? Depth matters, and every week without clarity impacts the lineup. Do you think the media should dig deeper into this story? Or should everyone back off and let the team handle it privately? Drop dig or let them handle it in the comments. I want thoughtful takes, not hot takes. If you want updates from verified sources, hit like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you confirmed reporting. All right, now let's talk football. Because while everyone's wondering why Simmons is gone, the Chiefs still have games to play, and Patrick still needs protection. Against Detroit, we got an unexpected but impressive performance from Jalen Moore, who was thrown into the fire as the starting left tackle. Think about how wild his day was. That morning, he was at the hospital with his wife welcoming their third child. 8 hours later, he was out there in prime time, blocking Aiden Hutchinson, one of the best young edge rushers in the NFL. And he held his own. Moore allowed only 3 pressures on 30 pass snaps, and that's not just solid for a backup. That's genuinely strong production for any tackle, especially in his first start in Kansas City. The Chiefs signed him this offseason on a 2-year, $30 million deal. Not flashy, but a calculated move. They knew Simmons' college injury history might resurface, or that Jawaan Taylor's inconsistency could force lineup changes. So far, that foresight looks smart. But the real test comes next. If Simmons doesn't return soon, Moore's next challenge is Max Crosby and the Raiders. Hutchinson is a high-caliber player, sure, but Crosby is a different kind of problem. Relentless, explosive, and built to wreck pockets. Moore will need to bring every ounce of focus to that matchup. Here's the bigger picture. This offensive line isn't collapsing. In fact, it might quietly be one of the most balanced units we've seen in years. Let's break it down. Jawaan Taylor. Early in the season, he frustrated a lot of us. Penalties, missed blocks, it was rough. But the last 3 weeks? No penalties, no sacks allowed. He's transformed his game in a meaningful way and been a reliable presence on the right side. Then there's Kingsley Suamataia, moved to left guard in Joe Thuney's absence and thriving. Through the first 6 games, he's allowed just 1 sack, 1 penalty, and 11 pressures. That's consistency. Pair him with Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith in the interior, and suddenly you've got an interior that's playing at a very high level. That cohesion has been critical, and you can see it in how the line has stabilized the offense. This is Brett Veach's roster, construction working. Even when chaos hits, there are players ready to step up. That depth matters when a starter goes missing. Now I want to hear from you. If Simmons isn't ready for Week 7, who should protect Mahomes' blind side? Should Jalen Moore stay at left tackle? Should the staff slide Jawaan Taylor? Or is there another option you prefer? Vote in the comments, Moore, Taylor, or other, and tell me why. Before we close, let's lay out what fans should realistically expect and how to respond. There are 3 main scenarios to watch for. 1. Simmons returns quickly, and this is a short blip. 2. He's out for multiple weeks, and Jalen Moore stays in while the team evaluates internal adjustments. 3. The absence becomes long-term, and the Chiefs have to shuffle the line or make a roster move. Right now, scenario 1 or 2 feels most likely, but the lack of a firm timeline makes planning harder. If Simmons misses Week 7, expect Moore to stay at left tackle. He proved he can handle high-pressure snaps, and gives the coaching staff a low-risk option. Sliding Jawan Taylor or rotating could work too, but those moves bring different matchup risks. Brett Veach built depth up front for exactly this reason. So far, that depth looks usable. What should you do as a fan? 2 rules: be informed and be respectful. Follow trusted reporters and official team channels for updates. Don't amplify unverified claims or private details. If this is a family or personal situation, giving the player space is the right move. Social media outrage rarely helps. If you're doing fantasy or betting, treat Simmons as day-to-day until the team confirms otherwise. Jalen Moore's performance makes him a safer temporary hold in real-life lineup terms, but for fantasy, you might need to look at benches or contingency plans depending on your league. Final community poll: should the media dig deeper or let the team handle it privately? Drop dig or let them handle it below and explain your reasoning. I want real conversation here, not noise. If you found this breakdown useful, hit like and subscribe. We're pushing to reach 5,000 subscribers, and your support helps us cover breaking Chiefs news fast and with real context. Tell me in the comments what deep dive you want next. An offensive line tape study, a Raiders matchup breakdown, or a profile on Jalen Moore.